You know, kids will commonly ask me, "Hey, Uncle Clowny, how do you commit YouTube career suicide?" And I'm like, it's easy. Unpopular opinions and free stuff. Oh, I'm so dead. I'm so dead.
ClownieNerf.
Hey guys, it's your Uncle Clowny coming to you with something I was sent to by Zhendotoys. I'm hoping I'm getting that right. That I'm going to put a little picture down here with a text box that says Zhendotoys.com because that's who was kind enough to send me this thing. It's something that we've all seen before. I know we have, but you kind of need to get one in your hands, I guess. I mean, they were kind enough to send it to me. We've seen it. It drew a lot of hate, but don't judge me because I like free stuff just like the rest of us. And it is their XM114 tactical Nerf blasting shotgun. This thing is really, really cool, honestly. I don't know if it was converted over from gel balls or shot Nerf immediately, but I do know that people saw this and took a lot of hate because it was a Spring Thunder knockoff. But all that aside, like I said, this is a great blaster as far as cosmetics go. I have not had a chance to go outside and shoot it yet. I have shot it. It does work with worker darts, which is great. It will not most likely use full lengths because the shells that it comes in, which include 6, are nearly as long as the darts themselves. The worker darts, however, do have a bit of a looser fit. And it is an older worker, like Gen 1 or 2. I'm not entirely sure. I just know it was purple, and I picked it up somewhere at one of my Nerf wars there. So we're going to go over the cosmetics from one end to the other. First off, it is obviously based off what I believe is a Benelli or a SIG, or a very tactical style. It does have a follower spring, which unscrews out front here, and the tube does hold 6 rounds. The barrel on everything on here is plastic, but there is a lot more metal than I thought there was going to be. Apparently, there is also another kit available from this company. They send you a bandolier, they'll go onto your blaster, or an ammo belt, and a few other things, and also, for some reason, a bunch of white gloves that are biomorphically strange thumbs. I don't know. I already have my fingerprints on this, so too late. It does have a nice little cosmetic charging handle, and I do say cosmetic charging handle because it is not the sturdiest thing. It is put on with a tiny, tiny Nerf screw, and it just kind of sits in there. I did use it to prime once or twice, and it's okay till you start getting back to where the catch goes, and then you start wondering if you're going to break your toy. The stock is adjustable with the 4 different post spots. I find that it's almost good enough for me all the way up front, but it goes out all the way to the end and does make it quite a decent sized stock. It is needing to be assembled when you get it with a very long screw, but they are very kindly giving you that with your, well, give you a long screwdriver, a very, very long screwdriver, to put that in there, which makes it a little difficult because you kind of bullseye a hole. But if you jiggle it around a little bit, the screw pops through and you can just kind of thread it on. So I did get an extra screw. I'm not sure if it's an extra screw or if it's a not extra screw because the instructions only have MX1014 in English, and that is the end of that. They're not hard to follow because they got a diagram picture, but it's not exactly clear what all of the little parts and stuff that are pointing to with the characters. An English version of that would have been nice, but they are a distributor out of China or across the seas, so you can't have everything. And speaking of everything, this one in particular was listing on the site at the time for about $108. I don't know what shipping was. Like I said, full disclosure, they sent me everything for free. I do know shipping out of China and stuff can get a little expensive, so it may run you somewhere around the line lines of 120 to 150. I'm not sure because the box, although not heavy, does break 12 inches. It actually breaks 2 feet, nearly 3, in one direction and 12 inches in another, so that puts it up into a different class of shipping. Plus it also comes out, like I said, from the other side of the world, so it is a bit expensive. The blaster itself is very comfortable. Of course it would be. I'm not a big fan of the sights. They are a little loose. They are also used, put together with hex screws. I would have liked to have seen the included screwdriver, use them, or an included hex driver would have been nice to adjust your sights, but you can't, like I said, you can't get everything. It does have a safety, it does have a release for the pump mechanism, which is purely cosmetic, and of perusing the site, you can get different parts. You can get sights for the thing, you can get Picatinny parts, different front ends, different grips. I am actually looking at getting the more traditional cowboy handshake pistol style grip for this thing, which would be really cool. I actually want to see too, I didn't get into it yet, but I want to see if maybe I can get a shorter barrel because, you know, tactical reasons. It would be nice to have a bit of a shorter barrel for my own purposes because I like sawed-off weaponry. I mean, that's just cool. And they do have other versions of this. There is one on there that is a much more traditional hunting style one, and that is honestly just as cool, just as brightly colored as that, if any more so, because it has a lot of orange on it, which this one does not have the orange on the tip. It does, however, have a big red front end, which I will most likely be remedying to a big orange front end, so I don't. So when I take it out in public, because this thing does have a more than lethal shoot me profile. So that is a little scary, but however, it is brightly colored. And, well, brightly colored, but it is still very, very realistic looking. So bear that in mind if you tend to take this thing outside, that you're going to draw yourself maybe a little bit of attention to, that might not be the kind of attention that you want to. In the world of gel balls, that's okay. In the world of airsoft, that's okay. In the world of Nerf, it's not. We tend to fly under the radar for a reason, because Nerf stuff is foamy. Also available on the site is extra shells. You can pick them up. They run to you about anywhere from 8 to 10. They're available in 6 and many different things. And the company was kind enough, Zhendotoys it is, to send me more shells, which is nice. And they actually feature the word Remington on them, which I just noticed. And I find that absolutely hilarious because something tells me they are probably not a licensed product, but it is great. I mean, and the best thing about these shells is that they glow in the dark. I mean, like, I'm like, hey, could you send me some more shells? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they're like, you know what? This guy had the balls to ask for some more shells. We're going to send him glow-in-the-dark shells. So good job, Zhendotoys. These are really cool. And they function just like the other ones do. You just slide them right in, I'm assuming, because, you know, they are what they are. The shells themselves are made out of a beautifully hard plastic. I mean, it is good. It is durable. I don't think it's an ABS, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to, like, melt it up to smell it. It has a really good O-ring in the back of these things. A very thick, low neoprene ring that just... wow, I mean, it's great. And they do work with the worker rounds, but it's not quite as tight as the darts included. And speaking of the darts included, they do give you enough to reload a couple of times, once of each, and then a mixed match. And first is the sucker darts, which are the standard ones that we're all used to with the very high head. But then they give you these FVJs. And for this blaster, they fit in the shells really good. I mean, nice and tight. The problem is that they're FVJs. And of course you don't know what that is. That's what we refer to as FVJ full vinyl jacket. It means they are very hard, very painful, and unfortunately they fly very well. The issue is not so much with this blaster, because a couple of test shots I took in here with some of the other stuff, it doesn't seem to hit way too hard. But if somebody was to pick one of these up and slide the FVJ into their caliburn and then take a shot with somebody with that, I'm pretty damn sure it would hurt. I mean, we used to use FVJs in the past for a brief moment in history, and I was not a fan of getting hit with those. It reminded me of glue domes, and for you old school guys, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Glue domes were painful, especially if improperly weighted, or properly weighted if you are north of the border here of the United States and Canada, where they use double-aught fishing weight to get them in there. Flies great, shoots straight, puts a hole through a can. Just not good. Those hurt. But we're going to get this thing loaded up here and see how it works. So the first thing you want to do whenever you have any of these is prime it. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of this priming rod other than cosmetics because it doesn't seem like it's going to work so well. You put the shell in, which is a little slidey, and then just go ahead and load up through the follower. And it does have a nice metal follower and a dart gate and some good, almost dropped one there, some, like I said, more than what I thought would be good metal parts. Now, for disclosure, this is not the first time I shot this. I did encounter some jamming, mostly because I kind of short racked it. Anybody needs a definition of what that is, it's commonly known as short racking. Means I didn't pull it all the way through and all the way back. It was a big problem in real steel with the Mossberg 500s and the Remington 7600 Sportsmaster, also known as the Jam Master, because it would jam up because it was a large round that required a full draw, and in the heat of the moment you would not draw back all the way. You would short rack it, and it would pop one shell into the back of the other while one was trying to eject, and it would stovepipe. Now this thing is already primed and loaded, so you just give it a shot, and I'll plan on taking this outside the range. And just so you know, it does have your standard safety on it that is ambidextrous. I mean, it locks from one side and it unlocks on the other. So it's not ambidextrous safety, but it's a push through, which makes it an ambidextrous safety. And then you just shoot, pop, nothing really strong out of the thing, but it's, you know, that's not what you're getting this for. Give it a rack, and the shell is supposed to come out, but that time it didn't. Like I said, I did experience some problems with that. Shooting this thing around a little bit, give it another shot. There it goes, right out of the thing, into a box, and hopefully the other ones will land in there. And they're not gonna, because shotgun shells go everywhere. Now you can hear, God, this thing's fun. It's not the strongest blaster. Like, Jesus Christ. It's so much archaic fun. This thing is a blast. I mean, just go flying out. And that's the last one, which is a damn shame, because I feel like I need to get a street sweeper to get a big drum on that thing. So so we're going to take it outside after I locate all my shells and my darts here, and we're going to give it a bit of a range test, which is not something I normally do. I would put it over to Crony, but once again, like I said, my Crony is still on the fritz. Having a hard time with the company getting them to try to let me get it fixed or repaired. They are just giving me all kinds of guff about that, so I have to start over, or badmouth them on social media, I guess, either one. But bear with me, guys. We'll be outside in a jiff just to see how this thing shoots outdoors. So as you guys can see, I'm out here with the Zhendotoys Company Tran Tactical Innovator XM1014 Tactical Shotgun Blaster. It's looks pretty cool out here in the sunlight, actually, although the color out here may be pretty washed out because it is a wonderfully bright sunshiny day and strangely warm for the end of September. And the lantern flies are out everywhere, bugging me, no pun intended. But we're going to give it a couple of shots and see what it goes like. Here, it's already primed and loaded, so just a couple of rounds down range. And that's it. So, we'll go down here and take a look and see. As you guys can see, the grouping is actually pretty good. There are two that did fall short, and from the main group here, it's obviously no winner to the side of the sidewalk where I was shooting as far as distance competition goes, but it is a good solid, I'd say, at least 30 to 40 feet, if not 50. By what it is here, we have something that's actually worthwhile using in a competitive setting, unless you are going to be trying to do long range shots. It is going to be something that'll be good for CQB and probably a lot of tree to tree battles. Just open field, you're literally going to fall short. So let's go back inside and I'll give you my final thoughts on this. So we're back inside after shooting out there on the range a little bit, or my makeshift range. And you can see it's getting solid performance, a good group landing out. Nothing utterly spectacular as far as distance goes, but let's face it, you're not playing with this thing for distance. You're obviously using it for the aesthetic that it has. I don't see a way to open it back up and mess with the springs inside, so I'm assuming that once this thing is sealed, that's going to be the way it is. There may be some way, but I'm not willing to go through it and monkey with all these mechanical parts inside. Things I don't like about it is the molds have some lines are a little sharp. Me being nitpicky, not a problem. The stock is a little loose, although it does do this neat twist thing. So when you're shooting, you can twist your blaster and get all tactical with it without throwing your shoulder out of position. The sights are kind of chintz, and this is the biggest thing I don't like is the priming rod. I get a feeling that this was going to get broke off within the next couple of days, no matter where I put it, and is most likely going to disappear. So it would have been nice to have a not just from priming either. I mean, it sticks out pretty proud, and it's not the best of plastic or condition, but I think as long as I don't lose it or bang on it, it should be okay. It retails right now for about $108 from Zhendotoys, and you're going to have to pay shipping from over across the seas for that, so I don't know how much is that going to be for that, because like I said, mine was sent to me for free. We do have a comparable blaster within the Nerf community that's 3D printed, that's going to run you anywhere from about $165.80 to roughly probably $200 once you get it shipped. So there is a big price difference between this and that. But either one of them are fine things. I just think that this is absolutely cool, and if you're looking to save a few bucks on having something that does that same job, this is not a bad option. It is still, you know, more than $100, but it's less than the $200 that you're going to spend if you go off and get the competitor or Spring Thunder from inside our community. So this is definitely a solid thing to play with, and I can't wait. I plan on going down to the Endor, Battle of Endor down in southern Maryland, or Maryland Nerf Herders, and giving this thing a run down there with that, and with the included extra shells, which most likely will be lost in the dirt, which is the only other issue I really have besides the FVJs, which you should immediately throw out, is that these are probably going to get lost in brush and cover. So if your style is a run and gun, you are probably going to definitely want to stock up on a bunch of these, because once those are gone, there is no way to shoot this blaster without them. So let me know what you guys think about this thing, and remember, Uncle Clownie's watching. Peace.